Their own game imagined sunrise over the Toul River, the air sharp and clear above the capital city of Ulaanbaatar, where winter often bites at 40 degrees below zero. In a modest office not far from the Soviet-era State Department store, 11 young engineers type away in both Cyrillic and traditional vertical script. They work for Egun Artificial Intelligence, a company valued at $38.5 million United States dollars that has raised $3.5 million from Golomt Bank, despite the sobering fact that roughly 99% of Mongolian startups never survive their first birthday. Egun's mission is audacious: build a sovereign large language model for a country of only 3.5 million people. Show the world that artificial intelligence need not speak only in English or Mandarin, and in the process, redraw the geopolitical map of technology. The first milestone arrived just 8 weeks after training began in November 2022. Almost the same week, ChatGPT stunned Silicon Valley. Using merely 96 graphics processing units, garden tools compared with the server farms of the West, the team produced a 30 billion parameter model fluent in the Khalkha dialect. In the spring of 2024, they doubled down, unveiling a 70 billion parameter successor powered by 128 NVIDIA H100 accelerators. By global standards, that is pocket change. OpenAI's clusters run on many tens of thousands of chips, and Google whispers about hundreds of thousands. Yet inside Mongolia's two national data centers, one at the Mongolian Technical University, the other in an industrial park on the edge of the Gobi, Egun's hardware is the largest array ever assembled on the steppe. Scarcity, paradoxically, has sharpened the company's engineering. To squeeze every floating point multiplication from a limited power budget, Egun rewrote the open-source Megatron Deep Speed stack, pruned redundant attention heads, and borrowed compression tricks first tested at Meta. The result is that Eva, a chatbot built on the new model, beats GPT-4 on Mongolian syntax and idiom in blind tests administered by linguists at Humboldt University in Berlin. Eva is already handling customer inquiries for Mobicom, translating loan documents for Golomt Bank, and ghostwriting healthcare discharge notes for a pilot in the capital's first central hospital. The waiting list for inference access is long enough that paying customers receive staggered time slots, much like telegraph operators booking code words during the Second World War. Egun's rise is inseparable from a broader push for digital sovereignty. In February 2025, Mongolia's parliament passed a resolution pledging to become the leading regional hub for artificial intelligence by 2030. The plan calls for training 250 specialists over 5 years, a tall order in a country that the Oxford Insights Readiness Index still ranks 98th among 188 nations, although that is an 11-place jump in just 12 months. Badrul Sanlig, Egun's founder, embodies the talent strategy. A German-educated engineer with 20 years of speech recognition work behind him and a track record of 96% accuracy on Mongolian voice transcription. He jokes that recruiting feels like assembling a football squad with 1 striker, 1 defender, and 9 goalkeepers. Yet he keeps coaxing emigres home with equity and patriotism. Half a planet away, artificial intelligence sovereignty is also reshaping relations between Microsoft and OpenAI. What began in 2019 as a $1 billion partnership ballooned into a $10 billion injection in 2023, catapulting Microsoft to the forefront of generative AI and giving ChatGPT perhaps 500 million weekly active users. But the honeymoon is cracking. OpenAI needs roughly $20 billion to finance ever larger training runs before the end of 2025 and wants to convert itself into a public benefit corporation to lure that cash. Microsoft, which enjoys exclusive access to OpenAI technology on its Azure cloud, says fine, but only if it can buy a larger slice of the new entity. OpenAI quietly explored filing antitrust complaints, and in Redmond, Satya Nadella hired Mustafa Suleyman, co-founder of DeepMind, to build homegrown models and reduce dependence on Sam Altman. The maneuver so far has stumbled on scaling headaches, but it signals the marriage may move from counseling to legal separation. In Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, the drama looks different, but the stakes are similar. Minimax, backed by Tencent and Alibaba, claims its new M1 model can juggle a context window of 1 million tokens, 8 times the capacity of DeepSeek's most recent release, while using roughly 30% less compute in certain tasks. Training cost was, according to insiders, $534,700 United States dollars on 512 NVIDIA H800 units. DeepSeek fights back with fresh benchmarks but faces scrutiny. 3 of its senior scientists logged between 5 and 10 years at Microsoft Labs in China, and the United States Commerce Department is investigating whether export-controlled chips slipped through the net. Meanwhile, the People's Bank of China pumped $69 billion of liquidity into state banks this March. A reminder that Beijing will use monetary cannon fire to arm its digital frontier, even as economic growth crawls around 2 to 3%, and Fitch predicts a public sector deficit near 9% of gross domestic product for next year. Across the Pacific, Scale AI and its 38-year-old co-founder Alexander Wang operate the pickaxe business of the gold rush, data labeling. Meta's most recent tender valued the company at $14.3 billion, and Wang's personal fortune tops $5 billion. Scale's contractors in Kenya and the Philippines earn wages around the 60th to 70th percentile of local income tables, but sift through the darkest corners of the internet to expunge trauma from training corpora. The Pentagon does not mind. It signed a $90 million deal in 2020 and extended it to $250 million in 2022. Wang's new seat inside Meta's superintelligence group reports directly to Mark Zuckerberg, and his growing friendship circle of libertarian-leaning venture capitalists and Republican lawmakers has earned him the moniker the AI Whisperer in Washington corridors. Meta itself continues to rely on advertising for roughly 98% of revenue, so it now wields artificial intelligence as a creative catalyst for small businesses trying to stretch every marketing penny. At Cannes Lions this June, the company demonstrated a tool that ingests up to 20 static photos and spits out a video with music, captions, and calls to action in less than 60 seconds. Another feature converts text prompts into looping graphics, while a consumer beta called MovieGen turns a snail's pace product demo into a short film. Behind the curtain, Meta trains these generative models with tens of billions of anonymized Instagram images, an approach that may again test the boundaries of fair use law in Brussels and Ottawa. For Mongolia, the lesson is clear. Even a nation sandwiched between 2 superpowers can carve out digital independence if it mixes strategic focus with native cultural pride. The road is steep. Electricity on the outskirts of Ulaanbaatar flickers. The fiber backhaul to Europe routes through Russian territory, and venture capital still arrives slower than the Trans-Siberian Railway. Yet Egun's success already nudges neighbors. Kazakhstan is negotiating a services agreement to build its own Kazakh language foundation model, and Kyrgyz data scientists have visited Egun's offices to discuss a Turkic language consortium that would pool computational budgets across 5 Central Asian republics. At the same time, the great power chessboard keeps shifting. If Microsoft and OpenAI untangle their ownership knot, it could unleash another price war for cloud compute, just as Washington tightens the spigot on advanced chips to China. Should Minimax or DeepSeek cross a fresh performance threshold, Beijing may double down on subsidies, widening the rift with Western semiconductor supply chains. In that turbulence, smaller players, Mongolia included, might find new bargaining power, auctioning their mineral-rich rare earth deposits for the graphics processors they lack, or exchanging linguistic data sets for security guarantees. Perhaps the most striking statistic comes ironically from horse racing. In 2024, the traditional Nadam festival in Ulaanbaatar recorded over 20,000 online bets on artificial intelligence-predicted finish times, up from essentially 0 just 3 years earlier. The predictive model behind those wagers was not built in California or Guangdong. It was adapted from Egun's language transformer, proof that even folkloric pastimes can ride the AI wave. Every time a 6-year-old jockey thunders across the steppe under a cloudless blue sky, an algorithm somewhere interprets hoofbeats as data points in a global contest of innovation. Standing on Sukhbatar Square at dusk, one can feel the buzz. Neon signage on Peace Avenue blinks both Cyrillic and Latin letters, taxis stream in from Jur districts, and a cold wind stirs the flags outside Parliament. Above the din, the promise of artificial intelligence sovereignty echoes like a modern twist on the legend of Genghis Khan. That a modest nation, guided by fierce resolve and a talent for adaptation, can surprise empires many times its size. Whether Mongolia's Silicon Steppe sparks a regional renaissance or merely blazes a trail that others refine, it has already proven one point beyond dispute. In the race to shape tomorrow's algorithms, head count and headquarters matter less than courage, clarity, and the conviction to speak in your own tongue.